The next one is about not so much how people are looking, but who's doing the looking, and generational differences in attention, and the power of really understanding a Gen Z or Gen Z audience. And so we're really excited to have Damon Westbury from Native to come up on stage. And MadFest people, perhaps you might let the other people in now. Yes, there we are. So God, Damon, you're a popular guy. There's a massive, great queue of people coming in. So please come through. And I think the next slide is meant to come up. So one of the things that we have been thinking about at the moment is differences in attention by media, differences of attention by objective, but crucially differences in attention by audience. Different people have grown up in different media environments and have learned different tricks about how to engage with and how to avoid advertising. Your attention patterns here might be very different to the attention patterns of your audience. And trying to understand that reality and understand that difference is something that we're all striving to do. So I'm going to get off the stage and I'll introduce and leave it to Damon Westbury of Native to get going. Gents.
Hi, I'm Damon from Native, and I'm here to talk to you about the attention crisis that brands are facing.
So, hi everyone, good afternoon. Mike, thank you very much for the introduction. I know that's a little bit contrived, but it's really what students are waking up to, the Gen Z audiences are waking up to every day, what they're scrolling through, and what they're really falling asleep to. So this is an audience here that is being bombarded by ads. It's not that your ads aren't getting through to this audience, it's they're not cutting through. And that's because this audience is seeing 10,000 messages digitally every day. It's a huge number. So I'm Damon from Native. We're a brand that connects brands with students on UK campuses. We do that by running over 400 MadFest-style events on UK campuses every year, as well as also having a range of different digital offerings that bring that through as well. So a lot of people up here have spoken today about attention. We believe there's actually right now an attention crisis, and we believe that Gen Z are really caught in the eye of that storm. So before we get into it, let's talk about this audience themselves. The audience I'm going to talk about is specifically students within Gen Z. The UK Gen Z marketplace and audience is 9 million students. 3 million of those are in higher education. We believe this is a very, very critical audience and a very valuable one. The reason that it's valuable is several-fold. They have no habits right now, just big opportunity. These are audiences that are at the start of their journey. They're at the start of acquiring brands and building brand value. This is an audience that haven't yet taken out mobile phone contracts. This is an audience that haven't necessarily subscribed to all the apps like Paramount that they may see their entertainment on. They haven't signed up to their first bank account necessarily. So right now this is an audience that are very fresh, that you can build very high lifetime value with. In terms of the customer lifetime value of this audience, they're wealthy, more than you might think so, particularly after they finish university. And in that environment, they earn up to £10,000 a year more than non-graduates. That audience themselves is powerful. If you think about banking, I did a bit of an experiment when I was back in the office earlier today. And I asked our audience, our employees, how many people are still with the same bank that they were with when they're at university? It was a bit rough and ready, but it was over 70% of them, and I'm sure that's probably quite similar for this audience here. not only are you still with the same bank, if you are with that same bank that you were with at university, you're probably taking a mortgage product from them. You're probably also doing savings and different investments. So it's an audience that provides a lot of lifetime value. Now, thirdly, it's a misnomer that this audience right now don't have money to spend. They've got incredibly high disposable income. Right now, UK students, so the student proportion of Gen Z in the UK, are spending have £130 million a week of disposable income. Over the course of a year, that collectively is £6.8 billion. They're spending on a daily basis, collectively, £6.6 million on fashion. They're spending individually £6.60 a day on takeaways. That contributes to over $2 billion a year to the UK economy in food and drink. Let's also remember that they're actually cultural influencers as well. This is an audience that trendset. They drive youth culture and they drive culture online. You think about students, they're often their voices is often where activism arises from. And it's just a powerful audience all round in terms of that cultural impact of deciding what's hot, what's not, what's in, what's not. So this is why they're important to brands and why we believe they're of high value. And if I could just ask, could I see my notes, please? Because otherwise I'm just going to be winging it up here. So as we get into the attention crisis, let's have a think about what's actually driving that right now. I think there are a number of macro drivers and there are a number of micro drivers. The macro drivers I thought would be best explained by a recent report I read, and I was really shocked to read it, from the British Standards Institute. That institute said that actually 70%, and I have to read this now because I can't see, 70% of 16 to 21-year-olds feel worse about themselves after spending time on social media. Amazingly, 46% of those people would rather be in a world without the internet at all. 50% would even support a digital curfew after 10 p.m. I know that they didn't survey my own kids on that one. And that 68% say that they feeling that time online is actually detrimental to their mental health. These, I think, are really worrying statistics, both for those individuals, collectively, that group of people, for platforms, for society, and of course for brand advertisers. It's also leading to a lot of digital detox in this space, where people are opting out of being online, making that time, making that space, again, making it harder for brands to get attention. And in terms of the micro drivers of this, there are a number of them. The micro drivers here are the bombardment of messages that students are receiving, and this audience is receiving, means that 44% of them are actually ignoring really well-produced, brilliantly made ads that are running on platforms that they use daily, just ignoring them. We've got 61% of this audience actually using ad blockers, which is a huge number, and they're using them consistently, and 42% of them don't actually trust, only 42% of them trust global brands. In fact, trust is a big issue again, with 28% citing brand trust as a reason why they don't actually complete an online purchase. And interestingly, this audience, they're massively into hearing from their peers. They want to hear recommendations themselves from their peer audience and about discovering new brands. 73% compared over 49% who like to discover through celebrity influencers. Guys, can I have my notes, please? Anyway, so when it comes to this audience, we're not actually talking about a generation that is disengaged. We're talking about a generation of people that are highly, highly discerning about the content that they receive. And that means that the rules and where we're operating have changed. I don't think it's any new thing to say that ROI in traditional media is falling. I've worked for a number of larger traditional platforms over the years myself. But it is. Cut-through is getting harder. That is falling. And it's much harder to get that attention. If money is being spent on this in this area now and people are ad blocking, ad skipping, this is going to be very challenging. Creativity and cultural influence matters. This is an audience here that want to have a relationship. They want relationship marketing versus transactional marketing. That's key, that's very important to them. And this is also an audience where there is such a thing as bad publicity. Ill thought out, badly communicated, inauthentic student campaigns will land really badly with this audience, and they're likely to go viral very, very quickly. So attention hasn't gone, it's just harder to earn. Relevance is now prevalent over clicks. Relevance is now prevalent over reach, context over clicks, and presence over noise. And this is an audience that we shouldn't forget values are incredibly important. 93% believe that brands that they like are brands that share their values. And those values tend to be authenticity and relevance. Context, very, very important. So as a business, we've been operating in this campus space for the last 5 years, bringing thousands and thousands of different brands onto campus and online. This is an audience that we've learned a number of things from this. We've done that physically and we've done it digitally. A few tips here from us that we feel make a difference. When brands have kind of stopped interrupting and started cutting through, the brands that have really resonated with our audience the most, and we've got a great panel and we've researched them a lot, are those that lead with utility and not lazy offers. Not just straightforward student discounting. They think about how to bring their brand and how to bring utility. How does their brand help students? What can it do for their lives? How does it help their stress? How does it help their finances? So don't lead with lazy offers. Make a commitment and stand for something. Purpose just isn't a campaign. Purpose is about driving that commitment from the audience. So you don't need to change the world, but be authentic, be honest, and show your receipts. Peer influence is very important, so you've got to engineer advocacy at source. That means building on those experiences and those moments where you can bring people together and get them to do the work for you, which leads me to the next point of co-creating culture. Don't chase it. So give students a voice, give them the opportunity to bring this forward, bring this together. And find the sweet spot in your marketing calendar and those are the calendars of the students. Think about Freshers Week, think about when they're graduating, think about when it's exam time, think about when it's time for moving house or moving home or taking that summer break. And finally, earn it in real life and amplify it online. And what better space to do that than the third space? So third spaces are informal environments, work, home being the first space, work or study being the second place. But the third space is where brands can really interact with this audience in a really uncluttered and very open way. For students, this would be the student union bar, the refectory, the gym, any space where they're just hanging out. And for brands, it gives them a great opportunity to build attention in an uncluttered environment, build community, which subsequently builds influence, build real blended discovery, where people are very happy to share and snap and show what happens in the third space. And finally, experiential wins in this environment. Students want pop-ups, they want live events, they want sampling, they want brand in hand, they want liquid on lips. So these are great environments to do this. For us at Native, we believe that the campus is really the ultimate place for this. And there's a number of reasons for that and what we feel that does. These aren't just environments where people are forming habits, making decisions, sharing what they do. These are environments that really build a very receptive audience in a safe and very contained space. And for brands, that gives them a highly captive audience, a highly relevant, trusted environment, and a great platform for marketing, as well as being a really strong driver of word-of-mouth marketing themselves. So Boston Consulting Group actually have said that brand ambassadors on campus deliver 10 times the results of paid media. Our own research says that those that actually work in this campus environment build a 6% higher action rate, and 75% of students actually believe that those brands that show up in real life are more memorable and more trustworthy. So, look, come with me on a very quick journey. Student goes to a freshers fair. Student receives a piece of brand information or hears something from a friend about a brand. They go onto TikTok, they go online, they snap a QR code. Ultimately, they then hit the website, they buy it, or they go bricks and mortar and buy it. This is an opportunity right now with this audience to think about how real life plus online amplification builds deeper connection and long-term brand affinity. And those brands that are in the third place, plus omnichannel, because we all know that omnichannel is very powerful, according to analytics partners, get a 32% uplift on ROI, and Drummond have shown that gives a 274% uplift on purchase intent. So this is about, it's not just about picking a side, it's about picking a strategy that really reflects Gen Z's world. I'm not going to go into loads of details because I'm kind of running out of time here, but there's a lot of brands doing this well. Apple, Monzo do a fantastic job of really tapping into students' spending behaviors, attitudes to money, and helping them with it. This is a great brand we've worked with, Pure Gym. They showed up on 20 campuses. They brought trainers to the campuses, and it was all about beat the trainer. 50,000 students engaged with them, 25,000 of them signed up to become Pure Gym student members. Huge results. Spotify, we all know, not going to go on because I'm getting evil looks from Mike here, but they have done a great job in bridging online music with real life through partnerships with Skiddle, and indeed their partnerships recently announced with broadcasters like Channel 4, where it brings utility and partnership to both sides. And we've done some really cool stuff with brands like Nerds, having live gummy bears and AR games, right? People running around campus, where that just hasn't built sort of results, it's built real affinity and experience with the brand. So there's a few things I'm just going to leave you with. In summary, Gen Z is and always has been the most influential generation that we've seen, driving societal trends, politics, and much more. This is an audience who are increasingly mindful about where they're spending their time, where they're focused their time, and how they're interacting with brands. Brands that engage with this audience well are not just showing up online, they're in feeds, they're showing up in real life, in really relevant contexts and environments. And finally, Gen Z do care about your ads. It's just that finding them, reaching them, engaging them is much more challenging to do well. But there's still much you can do to cut through. So the question I'll leave you with today is really, what is your brand actually doing to earn Gen Z's attention? Because if you're not earning it now, you won't be earning it tomorrow, and the cost of that will be huge. So thank you for your attention today. I've really appreciated it. If you'd like to understand more about this audience, I'm not in the way of it. If you'd like to understand more about this audience, we do an annual survey called the Student Life Report. It's coming out in September. If you click this code, we'll absolutely send everyone a copy. And for those of you who'd like to continue the conversation, me and quite a few of my team, wherever they are, will be at the Lumen Bar afterwards. So thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Thank you.